Welcome back to the Brooklyn Junction and a special episode on our prognostications, our predictions for the 2025 New York Jets. And a quick hello from our dangerous Dave Robinson. How are you, Dave?
Still dangerous, at least trying to.
And we have Jaunty. Jaunty is the word for John McDermott. How are you, John
I'm
McDermott?
doing very well, Mark. Looking forward to my Jets season, even though it's probably going to be disappointing, but I'm looking forward to it.
So, super quick, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the Jets. As I said in the Giants episode, I am both a Jet fan and a Giant fan, which is kind of schizophrenic because I met Namath as a kid. He was just so damn nice to me that I can never hate on the Jets. But I got to tell you, Woody Johnson is really, really pushing my buttons and has been pushing my buttons for years. I think he is the worst owner in professional sports, in the history of professional sports. And I used to think James Dolan was the greatest argument against inherited wealth born in the last 100 years until I watched the hijinks of Woody Johnson. So Woody Johnson's list of mistakes are endless. I think, we don't have to go through every one of them, but basically his meddling has pretty much destroyed this franchise. He's impulsive. He's all over these guys and, ready, firing kind of mentality, right? And we don't have to go into Tim Tebow. We don't have to go into the one-year Brett Favre. We don't have to go into, some of the rumors about the Joe Douglas experience where apparently his son would say, hey, I don't like the Madden rating of a player that he was going after, He scuttled the trade for Jerry Jeudy. I don't, but I can go about last year, right? The thing he did with the coach, who was not I couldn't stand him as a coach, Robert Saleh. And I just thought he looked weak, ineffective. I think he literally used to spend a lot of time on his eyelashes. He always had really nice big eyelashes. And he could be the nicest man in the world, but I think he was a long line of terrible coaches. The Jets were 2-3 with with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, right? Easy for me to say. And he fires Robert Saleh, and it's reported that, Saleh had a Free Lebanon or Pro Lebanon shirt during one of the practices. And Woody, who's a total goofball at best with absolutely zero self-awareness that he's just a lucky guy, the inheritance, if you will. But I think firing Saleh at that point, and then obviously Douglas, was like, I'm pulling the plug on the season. I'm such a impetuous little child. And it destroyed the season for them, in my opinion. Let's ask John McDermott what he thinks first.
I'm not as big a Woody hater as you are because I have not done the research you have done. I think he has meddled with the team way too much, and the firing of Salah last year just changed the way the team was working. They were losing games, but they were losing games because of a bad penalty here or a missed field goal there. The team was in the game. As soon as they got rid of Salah, then the defense kind of like gave up, in my opinion.
Well, he also cursed out Mike White. Was that his name? And he was the only owner to receive an outright F for his contribution to team culture by all the players. It was, my gut feeling that unless he steps back, Chris Johnson using a consultant they use a consultant to pick Idzik, like in a corporate consultant, somebody I would call if I wanted to get into an executive role. It was just nothing to do with football, no experience with football. And he's insane. And then all the players had the Mike White shirts on the plane. They put Mike White's face on their shirts. So to me, terrible, terrible owner. I've even heard Belichick, who I hate a little less than Woody Johnson, say, like, no, they'll never win with that owner, But putting that aside, I think there is some light at the end of the tunnel with I really like Aaron Glenn. And that's the thing. As soon as I'm ready to I'm not even going to watch any of their games. They do something to kind of get me back in. Dave, you want to add anything on Woody Johnson, or should we move to the offense?
Woody, obviously, when you have a bad owner, it's very hard to win. You've seen it in other sports. You see it in football. That meddling, especially when you have no idea what you're talking about, what you're doing, is usually a bad thing. But he did hire Tannenbaum to be a consultant with this recent GM hire. I like Aaron Glenn also. He looks like a no-nonsense coach. I thought Saleh was a great defensive coach. I did not think he was a very good head coach. The Jets been leading the league in penalties for the last 2 years, constantly shooting himself in the foot. I couldn't knock him for signing Aaron Rodgers, though. The Wilson pick really doomed him, but most people thought that that was a pretty good move for them, that he was going to be that guy to lead them to the playoffs, a place that they have not been in a very long time. And he tears his Achilles his first
14
year.
years, the most in professional
But
sports.
after they fired Saleh last year, they
Dave,
looked
I was
I mean,
Dave, I was overly optimistic last year. I actually thought with Rodgers at quarterback and Mike Williams coming in at wide receiver, I actually thought they had a chance for the playoffs. I thought they had a very good chance. Mark and I had a bit of a discussion in the beginning of the year. Mark thought they'd get 6 or 7 wins. I thought they'd get 12
good
wins.
thing you didn't bet.
So I was overly optimistic. I thought they had a good chance last year with Rodgers. I was wrong.
Well, I also, for some bizarre reason, and it's nothing other than an educated guess, my buddy Bill said to me, man, you seem to get the predictions right on the Jets. Like, I got pretty close to it. And I even had it right during, I didn't say FC Championship, during the Rex Ryan years. And God, in the rearview mirror, doesn't he look like, the best thing to ever happen to the Jets? But, or happened in the last 20, 30 years since we're sentient beings. I love the Parcells years. Those were great. But let's go right to the offense. I'll start off. I think they're going to have a terrible offense this year. I think they'll do okay in the run game, obviously. Brees Hall will have a bounce back. As a Braylon Allen, too. I think that they have a good running game, and Justin Fields obviously can run. But they have the weakest wide receiver room. I mean, it's professional malpractice to go into the season with that weak a wide receiver room, right? I mean, outside of Garrett Wilson, he's really, really good. I don't think he's as good as Malik Nabers, and Malik Nabers has got more other receivers in his team that he could count on to steal some of the thunder. But to me, they're going in with a really weak room. Now, I think they only got like $12 million underneath the salary cap. Maybe there's salary cap considerations, and that's always going to happen. Malachi Corley was a bust. It was just cut, right? And he was a reach. He was a reach when they picked him, I think, in the third round 2 years ago. But it's unconscionable. So I think their wide receiver room is I don't know if they got better or worse. They got worse, right? Because it's just add the Adams. Yeah. I think the wide receiver room got worse. I think the running game is neutral. I think the tight ends is neutral. I think, though.
Well, they got Mason Taylor at
I like
tight end.
Mason Taylor at tight end. I think that.
Yeah, so you can maybe see there's an improvement. And just one last comment for me, and I'll let you guys discourse. I think the O-line, they finally got the message, and I think that they probably have a very strong O-line. So let me turn this over now to Dave. What do you think about the Jets on offense?
The Jets offense will go how the Jets running game goes, basically, between Fields, Braylon Allen, and Brees Hall. I agree with you. They've invested a lot in that line, and it potentially could be very good. I think the right tackle, the rookie member, I think he may struggle a little bit, but
he looks like he's going to be eventually a good player, and that will be the Jets' strength. I am curious to see when they are in obvious passing situation how it looks with Justin Fields. Because during the preseason, I watched the game. They really weren't letting him let loose. So when the season comes, they're not going to be able to win that way. He's going to have to throw the ball. But I do believe that they're primarily going to try to run that ball down teams' throats. That is their strength, and that's what they're going to go with. But if they ever fall behind, they are going to be in trouble because then he's going to have to throw the ball. I agree with you. The receiving room, besides Wilson, Alan Lazar, and a couple other, it's going to be tough. But Mason Taylor looks good, and hopefully he can take some pressure off of him, but he's got to be able to throw that ball down the field. It's hard to win when you're just constantly running. Teams with defense would rather have you get 10 yards here, 10 yards here, instead of throwing and getting a quick strike. That's what they don't want. Okay, if you got to grind it out, because there's a lot more can go wrong. So we'll see. I'm not impressed with the offense either, but maybe Justin Fields has got something that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. Well, John and I are going to be in Tampa Bay, and hopefully they're not 0-2. Is that the third game of the
That'll be
season?
the third game of the season. They played the Bills and the Steelers beforehand at home. So I'm hoping they're 1-1 at that point.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, 1-1 at least. And I mean, they could be 0-3 when we're walking out of that stadium. And like as I referenced on the other podcast, I've been to about 5. We go every year somewhere special. And I'm really looking forward to being in Tampa Bay and seeing the stadium there. I'm not looking forward to Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield marching down the field, destroying the Jets. Sorry, just reliving my horrible experience at the Spygate game. Had incredible seats, and I just watched Tom Brady throw bombs to Randy Moss and destroy the New York Jets. And my buddy turned to me and says, "We don't have a team." But I think a lot of it depends on the fact that Garrett has to have a season very close to the one he had his rookie year, if possible.
You got to remember, Rodgers basically ignored Garrett Wilson last year, which I don't understand. He just basically ignored him. All he wanted to do was
Lazard, and I mean that ended up being and it didn't have to be a disaster. One last thing on the whole Rodgers thing is that there is a point that he is a Hall of Fame. There was bad luck. I predicted that, which is bizarre. I called a friend who's a fanatic, and I said, "Yeah, I think they'll be pretty good unless Aaron goes down in the first series." I actually said that to him. He says, "Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it." Yeah.
Well, a lot of people thought that the Jets were a quarterback away from a Super Bowl. I've heard people say that because of the defense. The defense took a step back last year.
I wasn't sure Rodgers was the guy because of his age.
He was.
But he was the best
My
available.
sense of it was that it might have been a nice, they might have had a playoff run but he also was, you don't let the quarterback choose his second and third and fourth receivers. You know what I mean? I mean, like Alan Lazard and some of those other busts that he brought in that were overpriced guys. And, kissing his ass, it went beyond the normal ass kissing. You know what I mean? It was unprofessional.
It did.
It's a very Woody Johnson thing to do, to have something that could potentially work and muck it up with stupidity.
That's right.
I mean, Nathaniel Hackett, jeez.
It was his offense.
All right. As you guys said, the running game should be fine. Their offensive line is looking very strong as long as these guys stay healthy. I'm looking forward to seeing what Justin Fields does with Jeremy Ruckert, because they played together in Ohio State, and Ruckert was a very good tight end out of Ohio State. I'm hoping that they might have some sort of magic. And maybe with Mason Taylor coming in as well, that might help, because you guys are right. The wide receivers just are terrible. And I've seen the Panthers down here in Charlotte actually go to a Super Bowl with a worse wide receiver room, but all those guys could fly. None of these guys really are burners, except for maybe Arian Smith. And so the the running game's going to have a problem because the defenses don't have to respect the deep ball much with these receivers, other than maybe Garrett Wilson. Or we'll see if Arian Smith even gets some playing time, who was like a 5th or 6th round draft pick this year. So, but the offensive line is rock solid, I think. And it's weird saying that about the Jets. It's been so long since we've had a good one. And the running backs, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, are all very solid plus running backs. They might even be able to trade Breece Hall because his contract is going to be coming up soon, and go with Braylon Allen moving forward. It would be.
How is he as a pass catcher, Breece Hall? I
think Hall's actually pretty decent as a pass catcher. Isaiah Davis is a good pass catcher. I'm not sure about Braylon Allen. I don't know enough about Braylon Allen.
Well, the argument that can be made with Aaron Glenn coming in, that this is the Lions East, or the Detroit Lions East, and look, I'm hopeful. Again, I'm ready to write them off and not watch their games, and they bring in somebody I respect, Aaron Glenn. I remember back in the day, Parcells giving him kudos that someday he'll make a great coach, right? And that was in the 90s, guys. And so they made a decision that makes sense to me. I know nothing about their I didn't know that Tannenbaum picked their GM. I think Tannenbaum, in the right situation, not being bullied by owners, might have been he did one of the best Jets drafts with Brickashaw, Ferguson, and Mangold, I think in 2003. I might have the wrong, you're wrong, but he had a good run, and was
actually Tannenbaum was the guy that drafted Durrell.
Yeah, he was a smart guy, great businessman. I think the 53rd, 54th player, or whatever the hell he owns currently. So I was disappointed when he was let go, and they bring in Idzik, and then Idzik keeps Ryan because of popular sentiment. What a fucking clown car, man! And I love Ryan, right? Ryan was he lost it the last year. He had to go, but he lost the players and lost the team. But coming back to this current information, this current age, I don't know enough about Darren Moogie, but we'll see. So what's our basic feeling? Did the offense improve? I'll ask Dave
Did it
first.
improve? I would say the line improved, possibly with the right tackle. Overall, I would say I think they pretty much stayed the same. I mean, the running back room, the receiver room probably got worse. The kid Ruckett, I know they've been waiting for him to break out for a while. It hasn't happened. I think that was one of the reasons why they drafted Taylor. But I'm not expecting a lot from the Jet offense. I think that, like I said, the time of possession and the defense will carry the Jets this year.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Justin Fields can do. But I don't expect a lot of improvement on this. I'm kind of excited to see an actual running quarterback and creativity in the offense. But talent-wise, I don't think they've improved that much. I like the pickup of Membo in the first round, and hopefully that will really solidify this offensive line for the year. They're very solid.
The Jets' offense was like 24th last season, with ostensibly better quarterback play.
Not very high, I can tell you that. But Rodgers didn't have a really bad statistical season. But part of the problem with the Jets is that they were constantly shooting themselves in the foot with penalties. They led the NFL in penalties last year.
And Rodgers was right that because he was using the hard count, and the guys would jump and do false starts. He'd be getting his own guys to jump off.
Definitely.
It comes to accountability. He actually, Salah said maybe he shouldn't do the hard count, and then he says maybe they should learn how to play professional football and not the hard count. I found that to be another reason I just could not stand Salah. I just, it's like this is the problem with the Jets. They were 24th in offense. We think they're going to be the same. I think they'll, maybe they'll improve to 22nd because of the if they improve their penalty scenario, and because Aaron Glenn is a much better coach. So you're talking about this is the thing that's going to bring them down next season. Now let's move to the defense. Dave, why don't you start with the defense on the
They
Jets? What's
have
your
a
thoughts?
lot of great pieces on defense. Quentin Williams, Sauce Gardner. They lost C.J. Mosley, so now I think Sherwood's going to be the guy on the field calling the defense. Quincy Williams. They lost D.J. Reed, but I heard that Brandon Stevens is looking good in camp. Now, when he was with the Ravens, he was not very good. So, I think the Jets will have a good defense. Their pass rush should be good. Will McDonald bulked up a little bit. He should, and then they get Jeremiah Johnson back. So, I think they'll have a good defense. They're going to need it, I think. Hopefully the offense won't drag the defense down where they're on the field for the whole game. But piece-wise, they should have a good defense. I mean, Sauce had a little regression last year, and Quentin Williams wasn't as good last year. I think one of the important things will be the pieces around Quentin Williams on that line to take some of the pressure off of him.
I think that, I think it's going to be a very solid defense. Is it going to be a great defense? No. I think it's going to be a very solid defense. They do have some great players in Gardner and Quincy Williams and Quinnen Williams. They could have a good pass rush with McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, but are either of those guys going to get 15 sacks this year? I doubt it. Hopefully they will be able to get pressure on the quarterback, and that'll help with the loss of DJ Reed. And Stevens just has to be solid because Michael Carter is also a good cornerback. He plays the slot, I guess, the nickel back.
And
Yeah,
they get
he's a safety.
Andre
And
Cisco,
they
but
drafted
he's
Moafi
safety,
Moore,
right?
who's also,
He's safe.
I think, has got potential. Yes, Tony Adams.
So I mean, Will McDonald, Harrison Phillips, Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson. Is that a scary front four, or is that just like a middling front
potential
four?
to be good, but I would not put that up in like the top 5 front fours. If they could be a top 10 defense, I'd be very happy.
And then on the linebacker side, you have Quincy Williams, which we know he's a great player. Jamie Sherwood. You mentioned McCarley Ball, and then obviously in the cornerback we have Gardner and Stevens. I mean, it's hard to say because I as much as I dislike Robert Saleh, and again, he can be the most wonderful human being and convivial and friendly, but he didn't run a good defensive scheme. And then whoever took over, that guy that took over that looked like a deer in the headlights the whole season, the coach, Jeff Ulbrich, and Saleh, I just think that they've been horrendous. So getting to the prediction portion of this, right? If Woody doesn't medal, which is a big thing, right? All bets are off with 40 battles. If there are key injuries, obviously that's, they don't have anybody after Justin Fields. I think Tyrod Taylor is injured currently.
He's back.
Right?
He's healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've always had a little bit I kind of like him. He's made mistakes, but he's a sound number 2. But if there's no key injuries, if you get Garrett Wilson out, then they might as well just play touch football. They might as well play touch football.
It's over.
But my prediction for them is 5. I would say 5-12, 6-11. That's where I'm going to stand. So we'll go to Dave first, who's not the Jets fan. Where do you see them, Dave?
The over-under is actually 5.5. So that's 6-11 is about right. Glenn's in his first year. and the Jets need a quarterback. Next year should be a good quarterback draft. So the losing may benefit them. So I think they might be able to squeeze out 7 wins, but I think that 6, 7 win is about right. I mean, I've seen them all over the place. I've seen people predict them to make the playoffs, believe it or not. So there's some optimism out there. Not a lot, but
Uh, I'm usually an optimist, but not the playoffs. I can't see the playoffs. I look at the schedule though, and the Jets have got like the opposite schedule of the Giants. They play the NFC South, which is a bunch of jokes, other than Tampa Bay, and they play the AFC East, which who knows how good Miami and New England are going to be. I know everybody say New England is going to be really good because they hired Mike Vrabel and they got Drake May, but they still were a bad football team last year. And how much improvement is Vrabel actually going to be? So they get to play the Dolphins and the
Patriots are much
and the
improved.
Patriots, not the Patriots, the Patriots twice. And they also get to play the NFC South, which has got the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Saints. The Saints might be lucky to win 1 or 2 games this year. So they have a schedule that could make them better than what they really are.
actually, schedule-wise, I think their schedule is 16th in the league, though. So the midway.
I am always too optimistic with the Jets, but I'm looking at 8 wins this year, maybe even 9.
Well, at least we're not far apart. It looks like we've got a consensus where I'm less optimistic. I say 6 wins, and John, ever the Jet fan optimistic, is saying 9. So between 6 and 9, whoever's the closest gets a bottle of Camus wine from me. And if it's me, I'll just drink it by myself. And the winner is, well, you'll find out at our mock draft in 2026.
Well, it should be better than it was last year.
All right, now I'm going to throw this at you in 30 seconds, okay? I'll make my prediction for the Super Bowl. And it's more wishful thinking because, I'm hoping that we're looking at a Packers-Bills Super Bowl. That's what I'm hoping for. Or a Ravens-Packers Super Bowl. I'd prefer to see the Bills. I'd like to see Josh Allen get in there and then feel satisfied and go on a 5-year decline as the Jets reemerge. Dave, what's your prediction for the Super Bowl?
In the NFC, anybody but the Eagles.
Like a true Giant fan.
The Packers are not a bad guess. I could go with the Packers. I would prefer to see the Lions to get in, though. I think the Ravens have the better teams. He's part of the reason why that team hasn't ascended to the Super Bowl. So I don't think Allen has been the reason why the Bills haven't made it. But I do think Jackson is the reason why the Ravens haven't. Can't have turnovers in the playoffs. So that's who I'm picking. I'm going with the Ravens and the
Detroit Lions.
I agree with Dave and the Lions. I thought the Lions were going to do it last year. I don't know what the hell happened to them in the playoffs. Other than the injuries. I'm going with the Lions. I really... And then I'm rooting for the Bills. I think the Bills in the 90s lost 4 in a row. Those Bills fans deserve a Super Bowl. That's who I'm rooting for, is the Bills.
See the Lions get in.
Yeah, Bills, Lions, Bills win. I could be happy. Even though they're an AFC East opponent of the Jets, I would be happy. All right, with that, guys, we've made our predictions for the Jets, and the Ultimate Arbitrators are going to sign off. And as always, please leave your comments. Disagree with us vehemently down in the comment section. And like and subscribe to the Brooklyn Junction. Dave, can I get a like and subscribe?
Like and subscribe. You don't know what you're missing until you try it.
John, give me a like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe to the Brooklyn Junction.
Guys, it's probably going to be Eagles-Chiefs. Well, thanks for joining. See you on the next one.
Well, it should be better than it was last year.